open session. It's the regular board meeting of the School District 96 Riverside. And first on the agenda is the superintendent's report.
All right. Wonderful.
We have to wait for
Public comment.
Oh, public comment. Oh, thank you. Is there any public comment? Margie doesn't have a sheet.
There was nothing on the sheet.
No, no public
Any
comment?
public comment?
Okay. Oh, sorry, I'll talk louder. Next up is the superintendent's report.
So we are bringing in two of our board members remotely here, both that are traveling for work and needed to join us this way. So Dan Hunt and Dave Barsati are joining us on the phones there. All right. So welcome, everybody. It's great to see everyone. We have started a tradition a couple years back about every trimester awarding and acknowledging the awards that our students are receiving. It's a wonderful opportunity for our Board of Education and for all of us to understand the great things that are going on in the district and the wonderful achievements that our students have. So this being the end of the year, there's a lot of extra awards, and we so appreciate everybody coming. So I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Merrill Brownlow and Ms. Pam Shaw, who are going to do our introductions, and our Board of Education is going to go stand up here so that we have an opportunity to congratulate and shake hands with all of our award recipients.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. It's so nice to see such a full house. Okay. So this is how this is going to work. Students, I need your attention 100% because you're the ones who are going to have to follow these directions. We're going to be reading off the award categories. And you can see this is just the first one. So we'd like for you to hold your applause. I know it's hard. You want to clap for every single child until we're done with a full category. Then you can clap all you want. The students, when we call your name, you're going to come up the stairs right over here by me. Mrs. Shaw is going to hand you your award, and you're going to shake the hands of Dr. Martha Ryan Toyer, Superintendent, and our board members. And then you're going to exit the other side of the stage down the stairs over there. Thumbs up, students, if you understand what it is you're going to do. Nice job. Okay. So we're going to get started. And our first category tonight are students whose work was selected for the West Suburban Consortium for Academic Excellence Art Exposition. So I'm going to start with the names of students that we know RSVP'd for this evening, and then go into the whole rest of the group in case you showed up and didn't let us know you were coming. So first up, Phoebe Baker. And I'm just going to keep going with names. Phoebe, come on down. I see her slowly making her way. And joining her, Montserrat Brito. If you're here. Scarlett Ecker, are you here? Adrian Gonzalez. There's Adrian. Mia Gonzalez. Desiree LaRoque. Evelyn May. Treya Notes.
Congratulations.
Kendall Richards. Brian Rampila. And I apologize if I am butchering your name. I'm trying really hard to get the pronunciations right. I will do my best. Makoto Schuerman. Max. Greta, I'm going to try really hard. Greta Stanovichuti. I'm not quite sure that's correct. I don't know how I did, Greta. So-so. Emma Strobel, Sophie Swissionis, Aiden Veltman, Elisa White, Grace Adams, Humza Ahmad, Antonio Bachik, or Bachik, Lucas Bell, Benjamin Buccio, Sophia Galindo, Ella Hillegas, Ella Hutar, Lars Iverson, Alexandra Kasparovatska, Roman Lopez, Christina Melchiors, Renee Murray, Anna Neva, Olive Salas, Sophia Singh, Harriet Snow, Joannette Solar-Cohen, Victor Swalick, and Reed Zitlicki. Those are all of our art show recipients. Now you can clap. The next award, I don't believe he's present to receive it, but we will see, is the Bruce Perryman Music Scholarship Award, which is an award given in memory of a former music teacher here at Hauser. And that award was given to Hayden Mars, but I don't, oh, Hayden, you are here, good, okay. I see him. And that one you can clap for, that's an individual award. Nice job. All right. The next group of awards are the Choral Music Awards, and we are going to start with our vocal solo contest winner. Hayden, you just might as well turn right back around. Hayden Mars. Okay. Catherine Delangel. A Volo Solo Contest honorable mention to Veronica Hunt. A vocal solo contest winner, Olivia Buccio. And the Choral Directors Award, also to Veronica Hunt. See that timing, Veronica? Okay. Congratulations. You can say hi, Dad. He's on the phone. Okay. Next up are our awards for band and orchestra and piano contest winners. So the first award is for Annabella Cornolo for a band solo honorable mention. Ian DeMano, solo contest honorable mention, orchestra division. Cole Pleppel, band solo contest winner. Emma Strong, orchestra solo contest winner. Luke Bell, band solo contest honorable mention. That's up. Simona Solminas, solo contest honorable mention. Olivia Dvorak, band solo contest winner. Lorelei Lambier, solo contest winner, orchestra. Lily Zhang, solo contest winner, piano division. Okay, those are all our band and orchestra winners. Next up, we have some orchestra program awards given out by our staff here at Hauser. The first award is for outstanding leadership in 7th grade, and it goes to Ian DeMano. In 6th grade, the outstanding leadership award goes to Emma Strong. And in 8th grade, the outstanding leadership was for Olivia Glowit. And then lastly, the Orchestra Directors Award went to Simona Solminas, which I don't think she's here. Also from our music department are Most Improved Awards this year. So the Most Improved Musician for 6th grade is Sophia Busigin. In 7th grade, Riley Evans, Most Improved Musician. And in 8th grade, Jalen Turina, Most Improved Musician. Okay. Next up are our Special Olympic Awards, and we had some huge success this year, so I have quite a few Special Olympic Awards to pass out. And hold your applause. Look, see, you've got quite a few here. All right. Special Olympics Spring Games athlete, 4th place in the 100-meter run, Cameron Dominic. The Illinois Education Special Olympics Super Sectional Bowling Competition, Riley Dawn. Another Super Sectional Bowling Competition award for Chris Smith. Special Olympics Spring Games athlete, 3rd place in the 50-meter run and 1st place in the softball throw, Peter Garcia. Didn't see Peter. Okay. Special Olympics, 1st place in the 100-meter run and 1st place in the softball throw, Ava McCormick. 3rd place in the 200-meter run, 7th place in the 100-meter run, Luke Perry. Super Sectional Bowling Competition Award to Olivia Glauwe. Super Sectional Bowling Competition Award also to Ava McCormick. And again to Luke Perry. And then almost last, advancement to the Special Olympics State Track Meet, Peter Garcia, as well as Ava McCormick. So we're very proud of all those students. Next, we have our 7th grade boys basketball conference champions. So congratulations to the entire team. And we have Stephen Brown, David Coomer, Patrick McDonough, Jack O'Brien, Max Wasionis, and those that we don't think could join us, but we'll read them just in case. Wesley Deason, Massimo Francescina, Daniel Gentile, Antonio Gutierrez, Liam Kaiser, Mohammed Salam, Sam Shelvin, and Toma Tucker. Those would be our basketball winners. So in addition to our 7th grade boys championship, we have 8th grade girls basketball conference champions among us. And they include Ava Morello, Olivia Dvorak, Julia Finnegan, Lena Lemke, Luna Lloyd, Asia McKay, Bryce Pekoric, Grace Pankros, Anne Showell, sorry Anne, if you're here, Gabrielle Ceramic. Okay, and that's our girls basketball team. Also, we had started this year a new tradition at Hauser honoring Students of the Month. So we have various Students of the Month awards that I'm going to go through, another very large stack from throughout the year. And we'd like to offer our congratulations to George Grant, Student of the Month in April for Encore. Patrick Hart, Student of the Month in January for Encore. Nico Malavic, 8th grade Student of the Month in February. Sam Minyares, 6th grade Student of the Month in September. Gabriella Nolan, Student of the Month in October. Chris Smith, Student of the Month in March. Greta Stanovijuti, I need her help. Greta, help me out. So if I have to say it a 3rd time, I'll get it correct. How do you pronounce that? Stanovijuta? Okay, not bad. I'll get it. Emma Strong, Student of the Month in December. Alice Buckman, Student of the Month in January, and Encore Student of the Month in September. Naleli Duran, Student of the Month in April. Amelia Eagleson, Student of the Month in February. Riley Evans, Student of the Month in March. Gabe Garza, Student of the Month in December. Andrea Hernandez, Student of the Month in January. Liam Hickey, Student of the Month in November. Natalie Colts, Student of the Month in December. Christina Melchiors, Student of the Month in October. Sophia Messina, Student of the Month in March. Mayana Nelson, Student of the Month in February. Gian Rico, Student of the Month in October. Ethan Smith, Student of the Month in February. Chase Sequio, Student of the Month for Kindness at the end of this school year. Simona Salminas, Student of the Month in April. Jalen Tarina, Student of the Month in March. Emma Udelson, Student of the Month in November. And Leighton Willis, Student of the Month in January. Congratulations to all of those students. The next category are some of our community awards, where we have partners in the community that students can participate in various contests and achieve certain milestones. So the first up is the Riverside Design Ad, and an honorable mention for Ava Wallish. Ava, are you here? So if you need some marketing, call on Ava, because she's your girl. Okay, we also had the Daughters of the American Revolution American History Essay Contest winner, Caroline Cole. Then we also have among us the AAUW 2019 Poster Contest winners. An honorable mention goes to Anna Kate Allison. Here she comes. Lillian Heistand is another honorable mention. Lola Baker is a poster contest winner. Charlotte Textrom is a poster contest winner. Humza Ahmad is a poster contest honorable mention. Jocelyn Gonzalez, a poster contest honorable mention. Aiden O'Brien, a poster contest honorable mention. Ryan Tabb, a poster contest honorable mention. William Wallace, a poster contest honorable mention. Courtney Frank, a poster contest winner. Ah, there she is. Whoops. Ella Kalinin, a poster contest winner. Right over here, Courtney. Avery Long, a poster contest winner. Adelina Segura, a poster contest winner. Caitlin Stack, a poster contest winner. And then the last community award is the Illinois Principal Association Start Your Day with a Smile Award. And that was awarded to Michael Callis. And those are all our community awards. Okay. Pardon me?
Not all of our community awards, but not all.
Community-based awards. We're not done with the awards. No, Miss Dr. Ryan Toy still have his stack. We're still going. Okay, now we have the Robotics Awards, Battle of the Bots. And these students design and compete with robots. And we have a Battle of the Bots Excellence Award going to Sophie Kleiber. And joining her is Cole Pleppel. And another Battle of the Bots Excellence Award goes to Landon Horizon. Another to Josh Nelson. And now we have Battle of the Bots Tournament Champion Ian DeMano. And another tournament champion, Max Strong. Also a tournament champion, Luke Bell. And last tournament champion, Richie Peterson. And that program has not been around that long, so to have some tournament champions is a very exciting thing for us. Yay! Next up, we have Young Author Awards. This year we did something a little bit different with our Young Author program. We brought in a national touring theater who read all of the stories submitted by our young authors and chose some that they deemed honorable mentions, and then chose 3 that they actually brought to life on stage in the form of a theater musical performance. So our students' work was performed live and on stage right here just last week. So honorable mentions for the Young Author Child's Play Touring Theater Awards: Azalea Amperin, Sophia May, Mia Noetic, Cora Bergman, Nora Cipriani, Eric Durbin, Ian Durbin. Interesting story, their mother won the same award 20 years ago. Yeah. Courtney Frank, Hannah George, another honorable mention, Dominic Cowell, Catherine McAllister, April Soriano. Now the 3 that were selected as world premiere and that were performed live on stage include Jayashri Mudusamy, Eden Conkey, and Ashley Kosman. And those 3 stories will actually now be part of the National Touring Theater's repertoire. So that's very exciting. Then for creative writing, we have the following awards. First place in Hauser's 9th annual creative writing contest, Patrick Hart. Second place in Hauser's 9th annual creative writing contest, Catherine Hallowell. And third place in Hauser's 9th annual creative writing contest, Sophie Kleiber. Then the next set of awards are our National History and Geography Bee Awards. And the first award is for the National and International History Bee Final Round Qualifier. That's a big deal. Cole Pleppel. I just have to tell you, my husband's a geography professor and he can't answer all the questions. So Cole, more power to you. National History Bee Final Round Qualifier, Henry Aller. National History Bee Regional Qualifier, Sierran Matthews. Was it Kieran Matthews? Sorry, Kieran. I'll get my pronunciation correct. As soon as you stood up, then I realized what I did. I'm sorry. Also, a National History Bee Final Round Qualifier, Donovan Cohen. Marcus Kuban, National History Bee Regional Qualifier. And also Marcus Kuban for the National Geography Bee Qualifier. Okay, next up. So District 96 last year embarked on a new mathematics contest called the Noetic Math Contest. It's an international problem-solving competition where students solve 20 problems in 45 minutes. There were over 3,500 students worldwide that participated, students from 38 states and 6 international schools. So the first set of awards, some of the awards will be for honorable mentions, and some of the awards are for National Honor Roll. To make National Honor Roll, you performed in the top 10% of your grade level among those contestants. So first honorable mention goes to Wyatt Hoffman. Another honorable mention goes to Soleil Kachuba. Another honorable mention to Garrett McNally. Another honorable mention to James Schreier. Honorable mention to Jackson Surge. Honorable mention to Matas Strapakis. Honorable mention to Simone Arazi. Honorable mention to Jaden Barrett. Honorable mention Zoe Bulchert. Honorable mention Nathan Bright. Honorable mention Santiago Cook. Honorable mention Kyle Enix. Honorable mention Aiden Hafner. Honorable mention Mackenzie Joseph. Honorable mention Isabella Kirsch. Honorable mention Emma Ralph. Honorable mention Quinn Reddy. National Honor Roll, which is that top 10%, and our D96 team winner, Sophia Miller. Another National Honor Roll and team winner, Zach Rosenfeld. And our last honor roll and team winner, Jason Shee. Another National Honor Roll winner, Martin Collings. And our last National Honor Roll winner, Aiden Veltman. And then I think not present tonight, but also a National Honor Roll winner, Lucas Ruza. And another, last one, Katie McAllister. I know. Okay. Congratulations to all of those mathematicians. Okay. The next set of awards are for students who participated in the West Suburban Consortium for Academic Excellence out-of-level SAT testing. And these students scored 500 or above on either math, reading, or both. So first up with that performance in both reading and mathematics is Nabil Belmadani. Also being awarded for both reading and mathematics is Kyle Ozga. Also for both reading and mathematics, Cole Pleppel. Also for reading and mathematics, Emma Strong. Also for reading and mathematics, Max Strong. Max. Also for reading and mathematics, Carol Creedon. Also for reading and mathematics, Jamie Izaguar. Also for reading and mathematics, Sophie Kleiber. For SAT performance in mathematics, Lorelei Linebear. For both reading and mathematics, Joshua Nelson. Reading and mathematics, Ella Proto. Reading and mathematics, Jonah Schacksnader. And lastly, reading and mathematics, Michael Talipin. And those are our 2019 Student Achievement Awards. Thank you all for being here. You're welcome to stay for the board meeting. However, we understand if it's 72 degrees out and you would like to be outside.
Cute. Somebody got flowers. Oh, that's adorable. No, I think it's great. No, I think it's great. The other one, I think he thinks it's too long. Yeah. Do I try to get moving or wait? Yeah. Bob, how are you? Yeah, but we don't have Jeff or Joel ready. All right.
No one wanted to stay. Would everyone want to stay?
Did Jeff leave us?
Maybe he went to the recipe.
All right, so
So I'll continue on with the superintendent's report. I'm not offended at all that people are leaving. So I wanted to share with all of you just an acknowledgement of the special education programming and services that go on in our district. We know we have really high quality special education programs and services. The state actually determines for us if we've met our identified areas, and I wanted to share that with you, that our District 96 special education programs and services meet requirements in all areas specific to the Board of Education. And then I also wanted to share just another annual update, and that's that we've had our annual safety meeting with our local fire and police partners, both from Riverside, North Riverside, and Brookfield, along with all our administrators. And that's always a great opportunity to continue to build our connections and our relationships, but also really review protocols and important information related to annual safety. This is just information for the Board of Education and for the community. We will continue with our plan to publish an annual community report. We will be probably asking Dan Hunt as our president to share some information for the report, and then just wanted the board to understand this is something I think the board had asked several years ago for this to be an annual activity of the district. And Jason Smith, our own instructional technology coordinator and also communications coordinator, 20% of his job, will be doing the report this year. So that's something to follow, but I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of that. Our Behavioral Interventions Committee met just recently. Sherry was part of that and joined Pam Shaw, and again, looking at per the requirements, looking at our meeting the needs of children with disabilities and discipline requirements, et cetera. So again, appreciate the time, Sherry, and appreciate the compliance that we have and the thoughtfulness that we have in terms of that process. So then the last item on the superintendent's report is really something that I'm hoping to really create an opportunity to build a conversation. So we have Steve Wright here from DLA Architects, and I'm realizing there are several board members that have not had an opportunity to meet Steve. So let me introduce Steve Wright from DLA Architects, sitting here in the second row. And
he did not get an award tonight.
he did not get an award.
We could give you one.
Right. So, as always, we have worked to inform, obviously, the board, but really the whole community on the status of our facilities advisory committee work. We had a meeting just on May 9th, and last week was kind of facilities week in general. We had 4 school-level community engagement sessions, thanks to board members that were able to be part of that. And then we had 1 district-level evening event at Ames School to talk about our long-range facilities plan. And I know there's also an article just in the Landmark this week about that. And then the committee met last week on Thursday. So I feel like we had a lot of conversations, a lot of opportunities to connect around the long-range facilities plan. And really with that, I was really hoping that both Joel and Linda and Steve, myself, that we could really have some dialogue with the board related on the superintendent's committee item, but an opportunity to connect and ask questions and provide some feedback in terms of what the community feedback that we received. Really with this goal being that one thing that Steve has prepared is a timeline. So one of the questions that came up through the community engagement conversation is very much when might these projects be done? And we have talked, I know the board and myself, superintendent, talked about sort of a goal of potentially fall of 2020 for some or all projects. I think that's been a question if that's still realistic. Steve has drafted a timeline, and I really want the board to understand what would be required to hit that kind of timeline or to hit a fall of 2020 timeline, because it really starts to point to some important action steps for the Board of Education in the next really month or month and a half. So I'm sort of just creating the context and the opportunity to have the conversation. And Joel, I know, is on the committee, and Linda's on the committee, and Steve is here. So, Steve, you want to maybe share the timeline, the timeline information, because I think that would be helpful.
So does everybody have a copy, or should I hand these out? Or?
Yes. So the
why
board
don't you hand it out if
sure.
you've got copies, please.
And then we'll add this to board book, because I'm realizing it's not attached there. So
No, I have this.
We got
Well,
an email the other day, and then it would said it would be handed out.
Right, yeah. So, but we'll add into board book so it's part of the record.
Yeah.
No, that I have.
Yeah. So, and Steve, you have to stand at that microphone, even though you don't get feedback from it.
So far that way.
I know.
Okay.
So you don't hear as if you're talking into a microphone, it's just going into our video recording.
No problem. So first of all, the first page that you see is just a brief description of the different phases that we go through. So right now, what we have done is we've developed some very initial floor plans for each of the different schools. That right now, I would say we're at conceptual design. That's what you have seen so far. Moving forward, we get into what's called schematic design, and that what we do is we take the general layout and start to refine that and check back with the district to make sure that we're going along the path of the direction to make sure that all of the goals that have been set by the district are going to be achieved. Then we get into what's called design development, and that's a little bit more refinement. What we do is we actually start sizing rooms and making sure that everything is going to lay out exactly and operate the way that you're looking to do. Once the board has had a chance to look at that, you're comfortable with it, you would then tell us to go into construction documents. And the construction documents are the final drawings and specifications that go out to bid to contractors to eventually be physically built in the field. And then we get into the actual construction part. So the second page is, what it does is it starts to outline each of these different phases of the project. Again, right now we're at what I would say conceptual design, and we need to get into schematic design, which is the refinement part. And if we are to target having projects completed by fall of 2020, these are some guidelines that we really need to start considering as far as timelines to set goals, to make decisions. And right now we're in the midst of the investigative study for all of the different projects that we're looking at. We're going through, we've got soil borings being done, we have other studies being done, we've looked through all of the district documents as far as existing floor plans and so on, to start gathering all the information that we need to share with our engineers to start to look at the major components, electrical, mechanical, structural, and so on for each of the different projects at each of the different schools. So we're in the midst of that study right now. That study is targeted, and we're right on target right now to be done about mid-June to complete that. Once the board has had a chance to review that, my hope is that you will say, let's keep moving forward so we can start looking at actually constructing this. If the board gives us that approval in June, in the same from mid-June to the beginning of July, then this colorized schedule that I've laid out starts to lay out month by month what we would be doing. And based on what we're able to, the information that we have been able to gather through the study portion that we're doing, I'm saying that we're going to actually improve the original schedule that was laid out. We had about 2 months of schematic design, 2 months of design development, and then 2 months of construction documents. Because of the study, we're able to gather some information and actually gain some ground on the schedule. So I'm reducing the design development by a month. So we're actually picking up some speed as far as getting toward the goal. But laying this out, we would be looking at putting this out to bid. We get the construction documents done, we put it out to bid in December and go through the whole month of December into the second week of January for bidding. And that is an optimal time to bid. Typically you look at between October and February to put things out to bid, to get bids back that are economical to the district's benefit. If you start pushing that too far back into, say, March and April, the prices tend to go up because contractors have already bid other projects and they're already booked for the work, so that then the prices tend to go up. We have seen that this year. There are some of our districts that were slow in making decisions, so therefore the projects went out to bid a little bit later, and we had seen a steady increase of projects as it got later. Not only districts that we work with, but all across Chicagoland. That's a trend that construction has happened. So I just want to make you aware that the later we put it out to bid, we should expect prices to go up then. So with that said, if we were able to get this out to bid in December and bids come back in January, we would review the bids, take that to the board to say we would make a recommendation for the low qualified contractor, and then potentially be ready to start the actual physical construction, best case scenario, beginning of February. And I've laid out two different construction schedules if you look at the lower left-hand corner of this sheet. The first one I call an aggressive schedule, and that is if we could get started by the beginning of February. Now, I will tell you that I call it aggressive only from the standpoint of we have no control over the weather. And as you've seen last year, with the polar vortex, the snows we had and so on, and the extended rain that we had this spring, there's, no saying if that's going to happen next year. Best case, if it didn't happen, severe cold, heavy rains, and so on, we could be putting a shovel in the ground in February. That is realistic. It has happened in the past. And then the construction schedule is about a 7-month process to get everything completed. That would finish, if we started beginning of February, that would finish up the middle of August to give us time to get moved in and start school 2020. And that goes across all of the different projects. Worst case, I looked at the larger project at Ames to use that as worst case scenario. All of these can be lumped in, and you can add whatever projects you want, but I just want to let you know that that's the way this worked out. The other schedule that's listed on here is if we did run into issues with weather, and we have seen this actually this year, where we weren't able to start construction until the middle of April. So if we did that, and if it was a 7-month construction process, that would take us into the end of November. Now, if you're open to that, that's great, because then you could have the month of December to finish up, move in, and then the kids could start potentially in the additions when they come back from Christmas break. And over on the right-hand side, it talks about a few of the impacting factors that could be part of the project and will be part of the project. There's MWRD, which stands for Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. That has to do with stormwater. So there are approvals that have to happen through MWRD. The village will be part of the process. We have to submit to the village to get their comments, as well as some of your buildings have historical significance, so we have to go through the historical commission. All of those approvals take time, and those need to be lumped into the schedule, assuming that there are going to be comments back and forth, and we have to make sure that those different committees are taken care of. And then again, I listed the weather issues on the right-hand side, the things that we don't have control over, just to make you aware also that the tariffs that have been in the news, even this week, those are affecting projects these days. So again, costs could go up because of the tariffs. I'm not saying they will, but we have seen some impact on other projects. Right now, I know steel and aluminum are approximately 25% higher. And that's what we have seen over this past year. That can affect, say, ductwork, structural steel, some wiring as far as electrical. But those are the main things. So what I tried to do, again, is just to give you the two different schedules that are potential from a timing standpoint. And my suggestion is that should the board say, let's go ahead and at least put the documents together and get them ready to go out to bid, we can bid these in two different timelines as far as the construction documents go. We can put in the documents to say, let's go for the aggressive time schedule as a base bid, meaning the first thing that the contractor would look at. We can also list a secondary schedule that gives them another 2.5 months and just pushes things back to give the district a cost for that. So you would have the information in your hand when the bids come in. We can evaluate it and see if that differential is worth it to you to say, let's push the contractor and go for the more aggressive to have it done in August, or it's okay to, if it comes in a lot more, to say, okay, that our time is worth it, we can start in December. It gives you the option. That's all I'm getting at. So, any questions? Or is anything not clear?
Well,
I was just going to say, so if we miss December, where the optimal bidding time is, we're pretty much pushing to the next. I mean, you could bid in February.
We could bid in January a little bit later, but if we go much farther, we're not going to get good prices. Correct.
I would assume.
Correct. Yeah. And again, we have seen that this year with some of our clients.
Right. I think we'd rather be on the optimal end of it.
Well, and something that we discussed at facilities was, even though you list these as knowns, M-Word and the Village Review and Historic, we don't actually know
the
what
time
those will do
Right.
to our timeline.
Correct. Correct.
So those are potential things that could change up the timelines for the different improvements we've been talking about. So like Central and Blythe have a little bit more facade work, for example, and getting that right so that it fits both what we need and what is acceptable to the village and historic and us in terms of what these buildings look like at the end, because this will be a permanent change to everything. That could push that work out a little bit more.
Yes.
Are we thinking about this in terms of a project for Ames and then also a sort of separate projects for the other schools? Or are we thinking of this as a bundle of projects?
I think it depends on how the designs evolve, and we know that we've got some communication with Hollywood, for example, and the Hollywood parents would like us to spend a lot more time doing discussions with our community members in terms of what can be done out there. So I could see Hollywood as another location that has more time needed.
Yeah, I think that's what we were talking about, kind of. Sure, ideally, it would be great to be able to do everything at once, but I don't think we're nowhere in place. But there are certain projects I think that we can attempt to bundle.
Well-
As we like, I can see the multipurpose room at Central being something that after we do analysis, that's something we could probably move forward with as we're moving forward with Ames. I think there potentially is a few other, maybe the front entrance at Hollywood. So in my mind, I would like to bundle what we can do.
Yeah.
I definitely, like Joel said, there's going to be,
But the idea is that regardless, we are shooting to do Ames, as we have said consistently for the last 2 years.
Yes.
No, we've always
So-
talked
so
about
basically,
2020. I don't want it very.
Ames is, or we're going to do Ames.
I think
And possibly we can do some of the other things you mentioned, which I think is a good idea.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to get, for the reasons that Joel mentioned and that Steve mentioned, I wouldn't want to get bogged down in a Blythe, historical issue.
No,
You know,
I
it's
think
like-
while
And
those move
that's
forward,
what-
I don't think there's any realistic,
Right.
like, that would happen by December. I mean, I
So
don't
it sounds like
think
we're talking about exactly the same thing we've been talking about for like
Yes.
2 years now, basically.
Yes, so now what we need to do is accept a contract and move forward, so yeah.
Jeff, it is, but I think it's getting this out to the community to here's what to expect.
Right, yeah.
And also, as we get closer, people tend to have more concerned voices about what's happening at their institution, and things come up and changes have to be made to what we're thinking about. And I specifically think of Hollywood, because Hollywood seems to be more of a priority on the play space front. Whereas we knew that we want to look at play space at Central.
Right, and that's an important thing
So
at
that-
Hollywood and even at the other schools as well. But I guess the question is, the big project that we have, Ames, has a long lead time. Like the Hollywood playground, once we decide what we want to do, once we get community input, it's not going to take 2 years to do, right?
Correct.
This is definitely going to be the
So this
biggest
is-
project.
Oh,
So
somebody-
we need to move.
Yeah, exactly. So-
I 100%
One of our board members over here wants, or one of our.
Oh, are you guys still there?
It's David.
But, I mean, we have to move forward, because if we don't move forward with this, we're going to be like 2020 is not going to be an option. We're going to be looking at 2021. I mean, we have to at some point start this process and go forward. There's always going to be change requests during the bidding, like during the construction project, but we can't. I mean, we've done this, has been in the works for so long. I mean, we need to start moving forward with this.
Sounds like there's consensus.
Yes, agreed.
I think we say this every meeting, yes.
But then, so the next step would be formal board action to approve an MOU to move into the schematic design and
that's where we're getting
construction
hung up.
drawings with DLA. And so that's the part, and so I think this, last week having the opportunity to connect with the community was great. This week having the opportunity for this board discussion, for Steve to be here. The committee just met. Really, the idea is that we would could have more discussion at a June 5th meeting, and would likely schedule a special meeting in late June to formally act on an MOU to create the action step needed to move forward with all of this.
Let's do it.
Right?
That would be perfect, yes. That way we can keep moving forward.
Yep. It sounds,
And that MOU would cover everything essentially that's been proposed, all the schools to this point?
We can include whatever projects we want, that the district wants to. Ames seems to be something that is a definite, but any of the other secured entrances and so on can be added. We can move it around on the schedule. The big thing is, if we are able to do the design work and get the construction documents moving, if we do hit a roadblock, say with the historical commission, we can take their comments, we can continue to develop those, and then get the work done, and then put it out at a time that is most advantageous for you from a bidding standpoint. But at least the work is developed and ready to go.
So the MOU could take, the scope of the project could be all 4 of these project ideas that we've been talking about, the impact on all 4 of the elementaries, and then they may end up falling onto different schedules.
Correct.
Because of some of the things we've talked about as the unknowns and known
And I
factors.
think as you develop the MOU, it should not a la carte, but it should identify
We
the
could
cost
structure
for
it
each.
by project.
That would be appropriate, so we know what we're
Sure.
in for.
I do think it's great. I do think it's a good idea to go
Yeah, that
forward.
was one thing I wasn't clear about. What was the scope of the timeline? And apparently it's inclusive of all the projects. Am I hearing that right?
I laid out the timeline that it would be, its worst case scenario as far as construction is the longest lead items, let's say Ames. All of the other ones can be done within the same timeline right now.
And that was one of the conversations that came up through the community engagement sessions where was this comment or question about if there's some things that may take time because of historic preservation or, clarity around where cars are going, et cetera. Are there some things that could be done? And secured front entrances is the one that
Yeah, we
came up as probably the
definitely,
clearest question.
we definitely heard that a lot in the community sessions at all the schools, is that we know some projects are going to take longer because of those, but what can you do now? Please, don't wait for everything to, for all the plans to come to fruition to do anything. Can we start? That's the message we kept hearing at every school.
And we should start where it's appropriate to start.
Yeah.
That's,
Sounds like we're in consensus here, so.
Everyone, we're ready to go. No, I do think we're ready. No,
what's that, Dan?
And I guess what's to be determined is, are there advantages to doing all these things at once as opposed to, more piecemeal fashion?
If you start putting projects together, let's say the projects that handle only the secured entries. If you start putting like projects, and I say like meaning similar, if you put those together and put that on the street, you will get better numbers when you start doing that at multiple locations, because contractors will be more interested in a larger project. And we can, even when we put it out to bid, we can say we would like a number for Blythe separate from Hollywood, separate from Ames, and so on. We can give the contractors options to bid the entire package, or they can pick 2 or 3 of the projects. We've seen success with that also.
They do that. They're
Yes.
okay with piecemealing. Do they often? You
What
said
it-
you've had success with that.
Well, putting it all together as one large package, giving the contractors the option to bid several of them. But what I would not recommend is doing one project and then a couple months later putting another one out, because you'll lose interest by the contractors.
But we already know that we're not going to be able to put all projects out at once. So we might as well move forward and put the projects out that we can, right? And then keep going through the process, and then possibly the next year, when it's the next optimal time, hopefully we're at a place to,
Yeah, I mean, obviously bundling saves money.
Great.
So we would look at potentially at our June 5th meeting at what I would call a draft MOU coming from DLA that identifies the scope of the project, including all 4 of the school projects that have been identified. That would move DLA into schematic design, design development, construction documents.
And what we could do is we can lay it out through construction documents, and then I can I can break out construction administration separately, because if we say, if we hit a hurdle that we have an issue with MWRD or something that's going to delay one particular project, we can choose not to go into construction on that, and so I can break that out separately for you, sure.
But if we have time to because our agreement as a board, I know we're having a discussion tonight, but really to have a discussion specific to a draft MOU, and then a board action at probably a convened special meeting in late June. That would hit our timeline to give us that option. We realize there are other unknown factors, but it would move this process forward in the way we've been talking about.
Correct. It would give me direction that I can move forward. Yes, correct.
All right.
And do we have enough certainty around the project specifically at Central, which we'd seem to be hitting some unknowns fairly recently on that? Do we have enough certainty on that project that we can include it in this bundle?
I think some of the investigative work will help clarify that. For
I believe it will.
example, whether or not that the new,
Structural issues?
just whether or not the floor is designed for large groups or small groups.
Right.
But also, we're looking at the ADA issues around the front entrance. I mean, there are a number of complexities to the Central project.
And Central is a complex project, and we're looking at it from every different angle to try to give you the best solution and be able to review that with you. And we'll lay it all out for you to give you the pros and cons, and then we'll have to make a decision together.
Yep. Great.
Will we have any kind of approximate costs or ranges or something like that as part of this?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
The STAR is still part of the process.
Correct.
When will we have the results of that investigative work for the multipurpose room at Central? Do we know?
I'm sorry, which?
The
The structural
multipurpose room at Central.
investigation.
So I had my structural engineer out yesterday,
Okay.
and I've been in contact with him. I've asked him to kind of push it along. I would hope in the next few days
Okay.
that I'll have some information, and then I can send that over.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anything else for Steve, or any other conversation for the board? So that's our agreed plan?
Fine, yeah, we'd
Okay.
be happy to see a draft soon.
Great.
So.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So I just wanted to mention, just the community engagement sessions were great, and I think as we move through this, it might be great just to have, maybe not 5 in 1 week again, because that was a bit much, but maybe 1 here and there just for community. not even school-specific, but maybe just a community evening. Come stop in if you have a few questions, because I do think it was, well, you never get as many people as you want to attend. The people that were there were like very vested and very interested and asked really good questions, and it was, I found to be a really helpful for us to hear this information, to hear what the community is asking and their questions. So I would recommend that as we go through this, I don't know if every other month we can just do like a.
I think it's a great idea.
Linda, we could rotate through the schools, even if it's not school specific.
Yeah, or try to, I know we even had some conversation about when's the best time.
Right.
And somebody had mentioned like a Saturday or
a
a.
work, and I would love to attend. If we could switch up some of the types of times that we do them, I think that might help a broader group, because I couldn't even come.
We talked about, the whole idea of community engagement, when to get people in, do you, before school, right after drop-off, which is one of the 4 evenings. We even talked about evenings with childcare. So that's some sort of an additional survey question that I'll pose to the community right now, while I think kind of the
So I think
ideas
we
are
need
right in
to
people's
just
minds.
keep that line of communication
And the
open.
people that don't have children at the schools, I think, would
Right.
love an opportunity to.
Right. And we keep reaching out. It's hard.
I know it's hard, right.
Yeah. But we have advertised at Riverside Foods and with the village and trying to get word out to the community members. So we will continue to do that. I just really enjoyed the opportunity to connect with the community members that came and shared their ideas and asked their questions. So it was valuable. I feel it really helped us also with some momentum too. So.
And I just want to say the presentations you gave were great too. Like it was a really good setup. Everything, the context was there, and now as we move forward, the context is there, and hopefully we can have very specific conversations moving forward. So it's great.
Great. Thanks, Steve.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
So that's the end of the superintendent's report. Thank you for that conversation as part of it.
All right, so I forget it's me. Moving on to the approval of the consent agenda.
Our secretary's not here.
I'll be it.
Are you going to be?
Oh, right. I was just about to say Joel, our secretary.
We've changed secretary.
Yes, all right.
Joel can be the
In lieu
villain.
of our secretary being absent, Joel, as the previous secretary, will you read the
I will
consent?
do so. Tonight's consent agenda includes the minutes of previous meetings, closed session of April 17th, regular business meeting of April 17th, organizational meeting of April 30th, the personnel report, and some staff appointments, the payables pre-lists from April 30th and May 15th, and then various press policies. These include policy 5:30, hiring process and criteria, 5:60, expenses, 5:70, religious holidays, 5:80, court duty, 5:150, personnel records, 5:180, temporary illness or temporary incapacity, 5:185, family and medical leave, 2:00, terms and conditions of employment and dismissal, 5:210, resignations, 5:220, substitute teachers, 5:230, maintaining student discipline, 5:240, suspension, 5:250, leaves of absence, 5:270, employment at will, compensation, and assignment, 2:90, employment termination and suspensions, 5:300, schedules and employment year, 5:320, evaluation, 6:260, complaints about curriculum, instructional materials and programs, 8:30, visitors to and conduct on school property. We had 2 others that required additional discussion, which were 8:95, parental involvement, and 4:30, revenue and investments, and then designation of the 2019 through 2020 school year, holidays for 52-week employees.
Thank you, Joel. Is there anything anyone would like to remove from the consent agenda to talk about separately? No? Can you guys hear me down there?
I can hear you somewhat.
Okay. Is there anything you want to remove from the consent agenda to talk about separately?
No, not for me.
Okay.
Dan?
Not for me either.
Thank you.
All right, then.
I'm closest to the phones.
So you make is there a motion to pass the consent agenda as presented?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Margie, can you call the roll?
Mr. Marhold?
Aye.
Ms. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Barsadi?
Aye.
Ms. Kleiber?
Aye.
Mr. Hunt?
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, moving on. Is there anybody from the Riverside Education Council? No? All right, board member comments? Are there any general board member comments?
I'm going to just thank Dan for taking care of all these policies before I took over.
I have a small one. I went on a field trip, which since I've been hurt, I would have
Thank you.
to go outside, but
I
I went on a
appreciate
field
that.
trip.
You are welcome. You are most welcome.
I don't think they can hear you talking.
Anyway, I was just going to say, it's the first year I think that we took the kindergartners to the Garfield Park Conservatory. I don't think we've ever done that at Central, and it was lovely. It was really awesome and special, and the PTO kind of directs sometimes what we choose, but I know this is teacher directed, and it's kind of nice that the teachers were choosing something different, and it was really fun because we've been to so many other places. So they rode the big yellow bus, and they were really well behaved, and it was great.
Any other general comments? If not, we'll move on to the policy committee. Mr. Barsadi, do you have any comments?
I have no comments for the policy committee.
All right, moving on. Finance committee, Mr. Miller? do
Yes,
you have
I
any-
met with Mr. Fitton on Wednesday, and we talked about the budget. He's working on the budget and making good progress on that, and he'll probably tell us a little more, not right now, but I guess later in the agenda. So.
Yeah, I think that is an agenda item.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Ms. Kleiber, Education Committee?
This is not directly necessarily education, but I met with Pam Shaw for the Behavior Interventions Committee, which is directly related to how we interact in the classroom. And I was always impressed, as always, with Ms. Adelsman. I'm not sure if I'm saying her last name right, but that their approach is prevention oriented instead of how do we deal with a child who's having an issue. It's how do we listen to them ahead of time and know and be able to expect what's happening. So I appreciate their outlook on that and that they're forward thinking. So it was really nice to hear.
All right, moving forward, Facilities Committee. Joel, I think we already covered that.
I think we did. Just, everyone should know that we're going to meet with the landscape architect and the outdoor
engineer.
space consultant to start initiating that process, especially starting at Central and Hauser for separation of play and parking.
Yeah, and we're doing that in the committee on May 30th.
May 30th
So-
will be that meeting.
All right, and Personnel Committee, I don't believe that,
We have not yet met.
I believe that hasn't met yet. All right. All right, moving into old business. The first item is the Consolidated District Plan. Is there a motion for the Board of Education to approve the Consolidated District Plan as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? If
Ma-
not,
Was there any other thoughts you had, Meryl? I know that this is now one combined.
It's a combined plan, so it combines all the federal grant dollars into one plan, so it includes the little bit that we will get through special education and early childhood. The only comment I will make is we may likely amend to add one broader statement to incorporate support at all of our schools, because we can also identify based on achievement as well as free and reduced lunch percentages now. And so with our single-section schools, we may expand some of our supports through our kindergarten interventionist to also support our single-section schools through the grant. So that is the only addendum that I will probably be adding to the overall plan.
And this is, Meryl, this is federal specific.
Correct, this is federal grant dollars.
all right.
And
if
the board
there's-
has to formally approve it. It's a new step in the process.
If there's no further discussion, Margie, can you call the roll?
Ms. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Barsadi?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Marhold?
Aye.
Ms. Kleiber?
Aye.
Mr. Hunt?
Dan?
Can you come under the table, Joel?
Sorry, I was on mute.
This is to approve the, consolidated district plan for the federal grants.
Yes or no?
Yeah, I said aye, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Motion carried.
All right, moving on to the Metro Chicago Mathematics Initiative contract. Is there a motion for the Board of Education to approve the MCMI coaching supports contract as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'll add one little note here. We created a calendar, we were able to engage all of the teachers next year. So that is the plan that the principals adopted, so everyone will receive support in a team level capacity.
Any further discussion? No? All right, Margie, can you call the roll?
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Marhold?
Aye.
Ms. Schreiber? Aye. Mr. Barsadi?
Aye.
Ms. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Hunt?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Moving on to the District 96 letter to IDOT in regards of supportive review of the intersection of First Avenue and Forest Avenue in Ridgewood. Is there a motion for the Board of Education to approve the letter written to the Illinois Department of Transportation in support of safety improvements to the intersection of First and Forest Ridgewood Road as presented?
So moved.
So moved.
Yep.
Second.
Any discussion?
Actually, this is really well written, and it's good, compact. It gets to the point of what we want to see.
I agree. I'd like to thank Martha for drafting that.
Yeah, I think it's an improvement on that kind of general one that we saw before.
Any further discussion?
We are all going to sign, or anyone who votes for this is going to sign this? Is that our...
That would probably
Yeah,
be a
we
good
set it up
idea.
structurally,
We can all?
yeah.
That way I think it has more impact if there are individual names associated with it.
Yes.
Yeah, why not?
All right, Margie, can you call the roll?
Ms. Kleiber?
Aye.
Mr. Barsadi?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Marhold?
Aye.
Ms. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Hunt?
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, moving on to new business. The first item is summer school enrollment and program overview and update. Dr. Brownlow, would you like to?
So you have a memo in your packet, just giving you the update at this point in time. What is kind of exciting is we have 287 students registered in total, and we had 299 in July, of last year. So we are ahead of where we were last year in terms of enrollment. So it looks like we will meet or likely exceed the total enrollment from last year. We're not at risk of capping any particular classes at this point in time. The variety, I think, is being very attractive this year to students, and so we have kids registering all over the place. Of the 287, 71 seats right now, 71 registrations are for our skill building
Yeah,
students.
I was going to ask if it was
Yeah.
enrichment or skill, yeah.
So 71 skills and 216 for enrichment right now. So similar ratio to last year.
Great.
But it's all on track, and Mrs. Hefner is doing a great job getting it organized, and registration's moving along.
Any other
Stay right there.
Any other discussion?
I just really like that we had those transition classes, like even the kindergartners or the
Yeah,
junior
we're
highs.
excited.
It's such a nice thing to
Yeah.
offer the families who might be nervous about, especially if they're crossing First Avenue or going to a different building. It's
Yeah,
a nice
I
thing.
was excited that a kindergarten teacher stepped up to do that
Yeah.
this year, so that'll be fun. And you want to?
The next item is the district office teaching and learning transition update.
Yeah. So I've been meeting with Mrs. Dolzel, and we have had a total of 7 face-to-face meetings already, and so we are moving right along. We're pretty productive. She's attended our DLT meetings, some committee meetings, the REC meeting, so she's had a lot of major introductions wherever we've had an after-school committee. She's taken the time. Yep, she's taken the time to come over to all these committee meetings, to our DLT. I was over there this morning with her for a few hours this morning, so we're in really good shape with the transition. She's got a good handle on things, asking all the right questions, and has some really great ideas for taking it forward, so I'm excited to see what she'll do with where we have to go next, so.
Thank you.
And I just want to thank Meryl and Angela both for sort of the additional time,
I know,
energy,
it's a lot of extra meetings.
insight, reflection, conversation.
Okay, we like coffee, so that's good.
You like coffee?
So Saturday morning coffee works too.
All right, thank you. Moving on to the budget development update. Mr. Fitton?
Thanks. I compiled the first draft of the FY20 budget. That's in your board book. I'm going to continue to update the budget, add some more analysis between now and when we have the vote on September 18th. For this draft, I assumed a 2% increase for property taxes, which is what CPI had been the last couple years. When you factor that in with, I held the other revenues flat, so it looks like a 1.4% increase on the revenue side. And on the expenditure side, we increased all the salaries by the contract amounts, reduced some FTE that you saw in the personnel report, and each of the principals reduced spending in the budgets they manage and their supplies and services. So on the expenditure side, we just had a slight decrease, almost the same number, but the revenues going up will help. So at this point, the budget is better than balanced, and looking at adding the fund balance at the end of the year. As I said, we'll go through more iterations of this and make sure that we've got everything accounted for and be ready for September 18th to recommend a budget for next year.
So, Jim, do you know about how much expenses are increased percentage-wise?
The principals, I missed the word.
Just the expenses.
Oh, about 0.4%, just under, not even 0.5%.
Thank you.
So it absorbs
No,
the
that's
salary increase.
really, that's a big deal.
Any other questions or discussion? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And moving on to a district office relocation update.
So Don Tofano and Jim Fitton have been our masters at the helm here on that process, and I know the board was interested in where we are, the community, in the process.
Yeah, we've been really dependent. The biggest dependency has been getting Comcast services up. They are scheduled to get permitting on Thursday, so the 17th. They anticipate construction to be completed on the 10th of June, and then it should be within a couple of weeks that they'd have service up and running. What we've been doing in advance of it is really getting the site ready. A lot of the technology components are being pre-configured and installed. My target is to have everything installed by June 1 in advance of the Comcast turn-up, so that when it does get turned up, there won't be that much work that has to be done in order to get services connected back to here. From the standpoint of the site itself, we've done some furniture reconfigurations based on workspace. Some of the workspace, especially in the second floor area, which one of the rooms is being used as a PD center, so all that work, all of that modular workstations have been dismantled. We have them stored in the other upstairs office space until we decide ultimately, what's going to happen to that equipment. So the first level is pretty much ready to go, and really just waiting on kind of some of those services to, once we get connected, we can get all the other services really up and running.
So what's the latest you want to be moved in by?
Well, it's interesting with the timing of things is that Comcast is saying they will definitely be done middle to end of June, which puts us into July, obviously, with the 4th of July week and so forth. We also have different vacation schedules, so that I think we have a target move-in date. I'm guessing it's probably going to be in early to mid-July, just because we know by then we should have everything, connected. My game plan initially was to move some of, once we get everything up and running, move some of my team over there, just so we can, kind of test the connectivity, make sure that there's no performance issues. If there are, get those worked out. And then have individuals move over from phones, routing phones there, is more of an internal change of configuration internally, because the main phone lines will still come in here. They'll just be, routed over there. From phone services that need to be added there, we'll need to add service. We'll need to move services for our fax line. We'll add some lines there for redundancy and failover in the event the connection goes down. With that last phone outage, I'm really looking to cover, really identify where we're lacking in redundancies. Actually, the hotspots were something that were very timely because we got them in the event of this for the offices, that the offices could just switch over to a hotspot and be up and running. So we're looking to identify those as well. So again, I'm guessing mid-July by the time everybody is back from vacations and such. But with it being ready before the end of June. That's my target.
If you were to go see it, it looks ready. I mean, it's clean. The offices have been sort of moved around. Furniture is there. As you know, they left furniture behind for us. So
yeah, there was carpet cleaning's
really
been done.
Connectivity's done. So good.
Yeah.
Great. Looks good.
Okay.
We're ready. And our goal would be to then have Central make use of the district office in its current form for fall of 19. And then we'll determine sort of future renovations, et cetera, to make it, the goal of turning into a multi-purpose room for later. But we already know that Central School will find the space useful.
Oh, I'm sure they'll
for fall
put
of
somebody
19.
in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Small group or otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the small group learning that we have some crunched into less than optimal spaces.
Mr. Gatz expressed that he could use it right
Oh,
away.
I know he could. Yeah.
All right, moving on to the job description change.
Sure. I have one other item that I just wanted to bring to the board's attention. So as people know, Kelly King has resigned from our instructional technology specialist position to go and be principal over in Brookfield District 95. We're certainly sorry to see her go, but it's also created an opportunity to consider not so much some of her day-to-day functions, but to really consider her title. And that her title in some ways has been perhaps a little bit limiting or maybe even misleading, but I would say more limiting to teachers, where I think teachers think that in order to get support from the person in this role that, I have to be using my device, it has to be a technology-based learning lesson. And we've really through the input and work of Mrs. King and the technology team, it's really expanded to much more around how do we really engage students, what are those problem-based and project-based opportunities, what are those inquiry-based opportunities. So we've really talked about, as we look for seeking the person in the role, and making sure teachers have a lot of clarity and really expanding that role of, we've talked about that job-embedded professional development, really helping teachers learn, not just when they're using their devices, but learn around innovation, that this would be a better title. And there's some minor changes to the actual job description, but wanted to share that with the board and certainly solicit any questions or comments that you might have about that.
I think it seems a very reasonable change here. I was curious, what is the salary range for this position?
So this is a teacher salary schedule position. So it's whatever would be the years of experience and credentials of the person coming in. Right, not administrative.
5-year minimum experience teacher requirement.
Right. I mean, I would have discretion to go beyond that, but yeah. And it's one that's interesting to me if there would be internal interest. So we'll see. We'll post it. But I wanted to post it with this new title and wanted the board to have an opportunity to look at that.
All right, if
Can
there's
I jump in here? One of the items on the budget development was the advanced approval required list, and I just want to thank Jim and Jeff for kind of refining this and bringing it to what we really need. Jim, have you gotten any bids on these yet or not?
Sorry.
The budget items, yes.
So those are items that we have in the budget for next year, but we want to commit to doing them in the summer when we have more time.
Right. No, my question was, have you gotten any bids on these yet?
Oh, most of those are bids. There's a couple estimates on smaller ones, but I've got probably 7 or 8 bids with me that support that.
That was the only question. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on it. Thank you, Linda.
All right, so that brings us to future meeting dates. June 5th, 2019, special meeting in Committee of the Whole at 7 p.m. in the Hauser LRC. The June 19th regular business meeting has been canceled. The July 3rd committee of the whole meeting has been canceled. And then there's a July 17th, 2019 regular business meeting at 7 p.m. in the Hauser LRC. The board is going into closed session again. Yes, is that what we just started? For the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the district, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired. Is that a?
But we're not having an actionable.
No, there's no action after, but yeah.
Yeah, there will be no action items after this.
So Jeff?
So moved.
Second.
Margie, can you call the roll?
Mr. Barsadi?
Aye.
Mr. Marhold?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Ms. Kleiber?
Aye.
Ms. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Hunt?
Aye.
Motion carried.
We'll reconnect with you in closed session.
Do we